Well, good morning, everyone. And again, thank you for joining today. Another beautiful day. Again, we will start with a short mindful breathing exercise. Okay. Make yourself relaxed, comfortable. And as you inhale and exhale naturally, observe it and be mindful of that. Simply just observing and being mindful or aware. Then you can imagine, someone who is more in front of you, three people, one in the middle, whom you are more neutral, that with whom you do not have any good relationship, bad relationship, just a neutral. Next, you can imagine someone you have a very good relationship or someone you feel most close in your life. And on the other side, you can imagine someone you dislike most. With someone you have strong aversions. And then we can imagine all other sentient beings surrounding them and oneself. And then allow yourself to feel whatever different feeling you have with these three persons. And then notice how we have different feelings towards those three different persons. With someone we feel very close, see how strong attachment we have. And with the other person, see how strong negative feelings we have, strong aversion, dislike, even anger or resentment. And the two neutral persons, we have sense feeling of almost like indifference or more neutral. Then, try to contemplate from those three persons and all others, from their side, they all want to be happy. Same, they all are same in wanting to be happy. And no one of any of them, no one wants suffering at all. They all are just trying to avoid the suffering, protect from the suffering. And they all want to achieve happiness and to protect whatever happiness they have. Same from their side, wanting that, no difference. And the reason why we have those different feelings at the moment with those three persons is because of their actions, behavior, attitude, as well as our own behavior, attitude, and actions and perspective. But none of them are permanent. They all can change. Those three people's view can changes. Their attitude could changes. Their perspective could changes. Thereby their actions and behavior could changes. If those changes, then we feel same way that we feel now. to someone who we are attached to, if that person's attitude, view on many issues, perspective changes, will we have still strong attachments the way we feel? If they have totally opposite view and attitude and action changes totally. Same with someone we feel very disliked at the moment. Their perspective could change, their attitude could change, their action could change, totally opposite way than now. If those changes, would we still be so have still strong aversion, dislike? And not only this, our own perspective could changes. Someone we feel very close, dear now, our perspective could changes and might feel that wasn't the person that I felt same way before. Our attitude could change, our action could changes. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. Everything is impermanent, ever changing all the time. That being the fact and the reality, it is not fact, reality correct to hold someone with so much strong dislike, aversions, anger, and being so strongly attached to someone. And being indifferent to another one. Instead, we should develop more sense of equanimity, which is close with more truth, which is the cause of happiness for others and cause of happiness for ourselves. On the other hand, the discriminating mind of being so attached to someone and having a strong aversion to someone is the cause of suffering to others and oneself. So with that understanding, try to cultivate more sense of equanimity to not only those three persons, but all sentient beings. Therefore, in order to free all sentient beings from the suffering and cause of suffering, and in order to guide them to ultimate happiness, I must achieve my highest potential, the fully awakened state. And to achieve fully awakened state, I must engage into the Bodhisattva's path practices. And in order to practice them correctly, continuously. I need to remind myself of all those practices by listening, hearing again and again. For that very reason, I'm going to listen and trying to apply into practice as much as possible those which I find helpful and beneficial. Okay. Yeah, refuge and bodhicitta.
I go for refuge until I am enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chodang soki chognam la, changchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi, Ragi chonyen gope sonam gi, drola penchir sangye druparsha. Chodang soki chognam la, changchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi, Ragi chonyen gope sonam gi, drola penchir sangye druparsha.
언제 도전이 손에 또 담대 방배제 담배 전이든 오담대로 자자로. So we are in the sections where we have been discussing about cultivating the awakening mind of bodhicitta, and in relation to that, we are going through this particular meditations technique of 7 point of cause and effect. And within that, we discuss about the first one, first meditation on that, recognizing all sentient beings have been our, parent many times, especially mother many times. Being mother many times as a human beings, being mother many times as a different form of animals, being mothers many times in a different, also different as a different beings. And so not just as a human beings, also in so many. So then second point of that meditations is be mindful of kindness of the infinite sentient beings. So page number 21 and within that 2. So next one is reflecting, contemplating, and meditating on the kindness of the mothers. Kindness of the mother. And again, a lot of things in our life. Sometimes if we don't reflect, if we don't contemplate, if we don't meditate, we forget. We forget a lot of things, And when you forget, then, you doesn't feel the kindness. Even though there has been so much kindness, sometimes we forget them. And so meditation is to awaken that, something that we have felt before, we have received and felt the kindness before, but sometimes those memories goes and we don't revisit them, and then we forget. And so the meditation is to kind of to reflect, contemplate, and that feel the kindness. So here, if I read itself here, how has the mother of this life shown you kindness? So that is something we try to reflect. how does our mother show kindness in this life? So we should reflect, and then we can see, oh, like this, my mother, this time also, many other times they have shown kindness like that in many other lifetimes. So that is when you are in her womb, she thought only about how to protect and care for you. So when the parents plan for a child, you know, and when the mother conceive and have a child, you know, constantly thinking about the child, even though the child is still in wombs, still not being birthed, but still planning when the child comes, how to take care of that child, so planning everything, started to plan so many things, and that is for the best of the child. Even thinking what kind of best name we should give, what kind of so they already, even before the birth, the child, they have already been planning and how to, and when they are aware that if they eat some things, it could hurt the child, they try to avoid that. Even something they like very much, but if there was some awareness, that this kind of food that you enjoy could hurt, they try to avoid that. Even you like some kind of, sports or games or whatever, but if you jump too much, if you move too much, it could hurt the child. Again, you try to avoid doing that. The mothers give up their own well-being in order to protect the child so that it doesn't hurt the child. It doesn't harm the child, whatever different way that, whatever awareness they have, whatever knowledge they have, that is even before the birth, while the mothers think that is the kindness of the mothers. Of course, we don't remember that. We don't remember that. But that is what, there are exceptional cases when the, mother's not ready and by accident they have child, and that would be another cases. But in most cases, that is how. After you were born, after all the hardship, the mother goes through 9 months without any complaint, when you're born, our mother never complained to us, oh, I went through so much hardship when in those 9 months, So after she took you and wrapped you in a soft garment, held you in her arms with so much joy and happiness to see the child. So much, even it almost lost their lives sometime, and went through so much pain, but there is so much joy and happiness just to see the child, to be able to held in her arms. Gaze on you with the eyes of love, smiled on you affectionately, out of mercy or compassion, gave you milk from her breast and held you to her body to keep you warm, So that is the kindness of the mothers, Even sometimes when the child, sometimes certain child maybe, especially later when they have little teeth, even when they bite, even when there's a pain, still the mother try to still give the milk, and the very reason the mother is able to give the milk, it shows the compassion of the mother, the love of the mother. If the mother doesn't have the love, compassion, the milk will dry up, the milk wouldn't come. And they have found even with the animals, if the mother doesn't want to give, if they have that, they don't have that compassion or the love or affections, even you try to milk, the milk wouldn't come. The milk dry up. And the very reason the mother continued to give the milk for a year or 2 years, year and a half, whatever, it just shows the mother's love, compassion, and that is also what allow that milk to flow and the child to have, that itself is a sign or expressions of inner love, compassion for the child. Then, for years, after years, she prepared food for you and cleans the mucus and excrement from your body. Especially when you are young, very young, newly born, we don't know how to go to toilet. We don't know how to clean ourselves. Who clean all of that? It's our parents. Who clean that? It's not just one day, not just 1 week, not just 1 month, not just 1 year, many years. Just imagine if I have to clean someone's that for a week, month, even if you are being paid, still you will have reservations. Even if you are being paid to clean someone every day like that, even for a year, you might have some reservations, whether you are willing to do that or not. But the parent, they were not being paid for that. And not just for weeks, years, happily. That's what they did. They give up their own sleep for many years. Every time the child wake up, every time the child cry, the parents are there. If they to find out why they are crying, what uncomfortable they are feeling, whether they need to be fitted, whether they need to be cleaned up, whether they need to put in the sleep, whatever. Always the moment the child they hear crying, immediately, disruptions in their sleep. How many times, sometimes depending on different children or depending on different times, sometimes 10 times disruptions, sometimes 3-4 times disruptions. And that for many years. If we are disrupted by your neighbor in your sleep, we complain. You feel next morning you feel grumpy. I couldn't sleep well, and I don't feel energy because I couldn't sleep well because that dog or because of the neighbor makes so much sound, and I wake up so many times. But that is only once a while. But here, every day, and no complaint, no complaint. How are they able to do that? Because of love and compassion. If it wasn't their love and compassion, they wouldn't be able to keep up doing that. So that is, cleaning. And If we have to cook one day, sometimes we complain. For a week, complain. But every day, 3 meals, 2 meals, whatever, no. They cook. Not only they cook, they feed. Not only they feed, they have to, what do you call, mm, do the dishes. What is that? Yeah. Oh, no, dishes, one thing, definitely that. But it's like, sometimes the children wouldn't eat, so they have to encourage, or there was another word I'm trying to say, they have to, say so many nice things, trick them so they can eat. I don't want to use the manipulate the word. That sounds more negative. But yeah, that is the word, coach them. And I watch, and it takes a lot of effort, so much effort. I watch young parents. Of course, I don't remember myself, but I can see, observe the young parents, my brothers, families, and other friends, how much effort they need. Not only feed, but they need to, you know, and with that. And the reason is that because they care about the child, love, so they don't want them to get sick. They don't want them to be weak. And so they want to feed them so they're healthy. And that is because love. If you don't have love and compassion, you wouldn't care. If you don't want to eat, don't eat. If you get sick, get sick. But, so much patience, so much patience. And the patience comes because the love and compassion. You wouldn't have same patience to someone else like that because you don't have same level of love and compassion. And so that shows, again, love and compassion. Mm, and even, and like of course, in many families where they don't have enough resource, poor families, again, the mother would wait for the last. They feed the children. If there's leftover, the first comes the child. And that is, again, the love and compassion. And even if she were gravely ill and you contracted a minor disease, she would think solely about you, instead of thinking about her own pain, sufferings, you know. She's more preoccupied by worry about the child, even the child problems, illness minor, and her own problem and illness might be major, but more than thinking about her own problem and illness, the mother's thinks way more about the child. And again, the love and compassion for the child is much more bigger than oneself, you know. She shielded and protect you from every difficulties, give you whatever she could to help you accomplish your wishes. And anything you could not do by yourself, she did for you. You know, the willingness to protect you in order to protect the child. They're willing to fight with their friends, willing to fight with their partners, willing to fight with the society. Normally, you don't want to lose your relationship with your partner. You try to protect. You don't want to lose your relation with your families, friends, um, in society. You like to have good relationships so that people like you. And, but when it comes to the child, and when they feel like child need to be protected, And that means going against all of that, fighting against all of it, willing to do that, not afraid to do that, willing to give that, you know. And probably, probably many of you, I've seen with my mom, yeah, always trying to protect the child, you know. It means sometimes fighting with the neighbor, fighting with other family members if they feel they didn't treat the child well, you know. And sometimes even it means their partner, you know, yeah. I experienced, or I saw myself, my mom trying to fight with my father, not only verbally, also physically, to protect the child, you know. So that is how much they are willing to go through, give up all their. Normally, this is something you try to protect, cherish, but when it comes to the protection of the child, they are, willing to give all of that, you know. And then, accomplish your wishes and whatever your wishes, if they can afford, if they can afford to fulfill your wishes, they are always there to help you, support you. Of course, it is something if they cannot afford, even they wish, if they cannot afford, they don't have the situations, the resources, that is one thing. But if they have resource, they want to fulfill. And they want to give best educations. They want to give the child better education than the education they got themselves. They work very hard, you know, to save the resources so that they can provide the best education for the child, how much they can afford. I've seen so many families in India, Nepal, and many others where the parents struggle so much, working very hard, labor work, very low pay, and they hardly eat it. They eat very little, and they save the money for to give a better education for the child, to be able to send the children to the school, better school. Mm. In fact, she protected your life and person every possible manner, every possible manner, in whatever way they can. In this way, yeah, okay. And the mother never worried about the child, even when they are in 90s and 80s. Even they have become old, even the child has become very old, the mother cannot stop from worrying them. And because of the love and compassion, they worry more about the child than themselves. They worry more about the child than themselves all the time. Mm. And the mother's love, compassion, kindness, not only we see in human beings, even you see in animals, You watch those animals, China's Animal Planet or other things, how they try to protect the child, how they try to help to take care of the child until they are able to, be on their own feet, take care of them, feeding them, and even sometimes the mothers, when they don't have enough, starving themselves, but whatever food, little food they get, they feed the child. They feed the child, and they try to protect from any danger that could pose danger to the child. Even sometimes they know they are very weak, and the other predator who is trying to um, harm the child, baby, probably they know they cannot protect, but still, in some cases, they sacrifice their own life to protect that baby, child, you know. And like when they have storm or all this, even that they could easily fly away from that storm to protect themselves, but because a child is there, they don't run away. They just stay over the child to protect the child. Even though they know that, if they just leave the child, baby there, and they fly away, they could save themselves. But they are not willing. They give their own life to protect the child, doesn't live away. You know, and of course, in some cases, they are being killed. They get killed. You know, um, so the love, the compassions, the kindness that you can see of the mother, not only in human beings, but among other beings, what we see among being animals, within the animal, you can see it. In this way, repeatedly contemplate that your mother has helped you so greatly and has been extremely kind to you. So, we try to contemplate, meditate, and recollect whatever we can recollect. Even those we cannot recollect, we can at least, imagine by seeing how others, mothers, take care of a child in a way. And then, um, that is how my mother would have treated me same way, with that kind of compassion. Um, and so if we meditate, contemplate, reflect again and again, and slowly, slowly, you begin to feel the kindness of the mother. Slowly, slowly, you begin to feel the love and compassion of the mothers. Mm. If we don't do that meditations, sometimes we have forgotten all the kindness they have shown to us, all the love and compassion they have shown to us. And what we remember is one or two instants when they shouted at us. We might remember one time when they yell at you, or at one time when they say one nasty things, or not so kind, or something, one time they couldn't fulfill your wishes. You wanted something and they couldn't give you, or those things, maybe very few instants in our life, very strong in our mind. That is what you remember. But all this kindness, love they show, not just one time, 24 hours, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, especially when you are most vulnerable. When you are most vulnerable and when you didn't take care of yourself. Until we are 4, 5, 6, or sometimes even later than that, when we don't know how to eat ourselves, we could die with starvations. When we don't know how to go to the toilets, when we don't know anything, when we cannot differentiate a stone as a something and where you can easily kind of swallow and die, or where you cannot differentiate whether it's a cliff, you can easily go and fall down and die, where you couldn't differentiate whether it's fire is danger, electricity is danger, where you can play with all of knife, everything, and you could have easily endanger yourself. When you couldn't take care of yourself at all, our parents were there, especially mother was there. Unfortunately, those are the years we don't remember. Very few people remember or have memory of when they were 1 year, 2 years. Their memory is much more of later. And even later, the problem with our memory is that the bad things we remember very clearly. Even one instant, we don't forget that probably most of our life. And then all the good things, kindness they have shown, unfortunately, our memory doesn't retain them. So here the meditations is to remember that. The meditation is to revive that, and to remember, recollect is important to that. It's important to feel the love, compassion, and the kindness of our parents, mothers, parents, Mm. And we are not just kind of, trying to create some kind of, imagine something which never happened. It's something that really happened, and we're just trying to recollect, remember them, in whatever way. And so that's the meditations. And you have to, as he said, you have to repeatedly, you have to meditate, you have to contemplate, recollect again and again and again. And by doing that, if you can feel the love, compassion, kindness, it will help you emotionally. It will help our relationship, whether they are still alive or not alive. Even they are no more here, but still our relation could help the way we feel for them. That it doesn't bother you, even they are not here. Sometimes people can still be bothered about, even they have already passed away, they can still be bothered by that because they didn't feel love and compassion and kindness. Somehow they felt something negative. It still bothered them, Of course, we all have differences. Sometimes we have differences, especially as we grow older. We have differences, but we shouldn't forget love, compassion, especially when we need it most, when we're most vulnerable. And even with animals, you can see that. The parent, especially the mom, take care of that baby. And then, once they are able to be their own, they teach them how to survive, if it's hunting, how to hunt, and how to find the food, different ways. And once they are their own way, then they go different, and the child go by themselves. Probably the child doesn't remember after some times. But if you see how much the mother, they were there until they were able to be on their own feet. And same, when we're most vulnerable, when we couldn't take care of ourselves, is because our parents love, compassion, and kindness, that we are still alive, we are still not broken everything's, you know. Um, that means they took care of us well when we were very young and when we couldn't take care of ourselves when we were most vulnerable. I think that is, um, and I think in our modern society, in cultures, one of the problem, people have some mental issues, is because they couldn't feel love and compassion and kindness, love and compassion. And when they cannot feel that love, compassion, kindness of someone, then they have a lot of other issues. Problem with trusting others, problem with having love and compassion to others, and that affect in so many different ways, in so many different, and but once someone, a child or someone who can feel the love and compassion and kindness of the mothers or parent or someone else, and that, then mentally they do better, emotionally they do better. They have less struggles than some others who cannot feel that. And again, and it is always not necessarily, it is not always necessary because they didn't get the love, compassion, kindness. But sometimes you get it when you are young and you forget that. Your memory is normal, and your memory is only some of the instance that is not a great experience. And then you hang on that. And then you hang that is what your parent does. That is how my mom treated. This is how my father treated. This is how sometimes you don't have the full pictures in your memory. You only have selective instance of not so great experiences. The problem is, as I mentioned, is our our brain memory. Unfortunately, all the good things we forget very easily. And so to do that, the meditations is very important too. Mm. So then here, so that is, yeah. Then visualize simultaneously the three categories of being: those close to you, such as your family, friends of this life; neutral people with whom you have had no real contact or adversaries; or those who have harmed you in this life. So you, again, in most of the many meditations, you started to imagine and visualize those three categories, where we have different relationship with those three categories of the people, and then consider how each of them has been your mother uncountable times in the past. And so that is the meditation. Even the someone we have aversions, dislike because of our present relationship, or someone who you feel more neutral at the moment, and also someone you feel close, meditate and consider how each of them have been your mother, not only one time, many times, so many times as a human beings, so many times as a bird, so many times as a dog, as a cat, as a cow, goat, all different, so many times, countless times that they have been your mothers, And not only they have been mothers, countless time, uncountable time have they given you human rebirth, or another beings as an animal rebirth, or whatever rebirth, protecting you as much as the mother of this life, protecting you as much as like this life, and showing you immeasurable kindness and helping you limitlessly again and again. So, not only one time, but so many times, countless time. And without a true love, compassion, showing kindness with different way to protect and help again and again, again and again, So so that is the second point of the meditations. Second point of meditations is recollecting, reflecting, and contemplating on the kindness of the mothers. The kindness of the mothers. Mm. It is not in the text here, but also it could be helpful to meditate on kindness of sentient beings even when they are not mothers. Even when they are not mother, they are very kind as a father many times. They are very kind many times as an uncle, auntie, many times as a sibling. They have been shown kindness, love, affections, help so many different ways as a siblings, Even when they are not family members, as a, whether it's a close family members or distant family members, even when they were not, sometimes they were very kind, showing kindness, love, compassion as a friend, sometimes as a, sponsors, benefactors, who support and who kind of adopt or take care of the child, supporting their bringing educations in so many different ways, support in so many different ways. So if we look at, not only they have been so kind, compassions as a mother countless time, but also they have, when they're not mother, they have also been very kind, compassions from being in a different way, in that way. And not only that, even when they were not supporting directly in that way, but again, every comfort, every happiness that we experience or you enjoy, it comes through the kindness of other sentient beings. Through the kindness of other sentient beings. The food that we enjoy to sustain ourselves, to keep us healthy, the food that we enjoy every day, the drink food, it comes through the kindness and contributions of others. We don't grow everything ourselves. We don't grow everything ourselves. It comes through the farmers, people who transport, people who sell in groceries, people who invest in those groceries. All of that through that, All the rope clothes that we wear, we don't make ourselves. We have to get from others. If there's no one who make those ropes, those clothes, we wouldn't be able to have all the warm clothes that we need in the winter. the place that we have shelter. We didn't build everything ourselves. There are people who help to build, and then all the things, material things that we need for that house to build, it comes from other sources. And again, there is so much contribution, kindness of other sentient beings to have this shelter. The transportation that we take in, the education we get, all the teachers throughout our lifetimes, from kindergartens until you finish your, undergraduate, graduate, postgraduate, whatever education you get, through all these truths, so many teachers, so many administrators who run those, so many policymakers, so many past who have developed those curriculums, and all of that we are able to get educations because of kindness and support of all of that. The job that we have, whether you have job or business, it depends on others. Someone to give you job. You need a customer for your business. Without others, you cannot start your business and to make a living from that. You need the customers. To get a job, you need someone to create a job, someone to give job. So all, if we think all, even our spiritual practice, even the joy that we get, peace that we get from our spiritual practice is through our practice meditations. And even those practice meditations, we learn from others, from so many, from the books, from the internet, from directly teachers. And those also happen to create that conditions, so many other people involvement to create those conditions. So all the comfort, all the joy, happiness we experience in this life, it comes through the kindness and contributions and support of others, directly, indirectly. All the happiness of futures, such as high rebirth, it also comes through others. To practice, we need the object of practice, the other sentient beings. Also to practice, we need to know how to practice, and we learn that from others. Also to practice, we need the other conditions to be able to practice, and also that comes through others. Even let's say practice of generosity. You are able to practice generosity because you are able to have some resource. Where did that resource come from? It comes from somewhere else. Resource came because someone provided you a job and you are able to make the money, resource, that's so you can share with others. If there was no job, someone didn't offer you a job, if they don't have a job, you wouldn't have that resource to even practice the generosity. And same with all other practice, So it comes from others, the kindness of others. And if we took and go, the happiness of fully enlightenment, it also comes through the others. And so all level of happiness, all different level of comfort, all different level of the happiness, pleasure, mental joy, happiness, peace, all come through the kindness and the support of others. And I think if we can meditate, contemplate, meditate that every day, every day, if you try to meditate that, then we might not be so, we might not have so much, bad feeling, harsh feeling towards others. When something doesn't go right in our life, when we have some obstacles, challenges, problem, which we all face because of the samsara, you wouldn't start to feel so much evil feeling, negative feeling, bad feeling towards others all the time, because you can feel their kindness, their compassions, their contributions, and their kindness for our happiness, So that is meditation on. And so in sutras, some sutras, Buddha has mentioned, try to see all sentient beings as your mother. Try to see all sentient beings as your father. Try to see all sentient beings as your siblings. So there in certain sutra, he try to see as your sister, brothers, and like that goes long. List goes long. There is in some sutra there is that part. So again, what it means is, for some individuals, maybe they might have problem with relating with these teachings, seeing the kindness of mother of this life. Okay. Maybe the mother was not ready for the child and had by accident, and maybe they give adoption for adoptions, or maybe they might have just left somewhere and someone found it and kind of took care of the child. So maybe they might not feel same way that is explained here. Okay, so they might have problem with relating with these particular teachings of the kindness of this mother when you talk about. And for those, then you can relate with someone. Maybe you might have your fathers, or you might have your siblings, or you might have adopted parents, or you might have another beings who took care of you and who show you the love, compassion, and kindness. So there is someone in your life that you can feel the love, compassion, and kindness who have shown you, whatever that person might be. It could be, biologically related or not related biologically at all. If you can feel with one person, it's the same. Then you try to say all sentient beings have been like that father many times and shown that kindness. All sentient beings have been like that, friends or that adopted parent and have shown. So you just use that. But for the majority of that, this. So that is for those who have difficulties, challenge that, then it can be moved, shifted in that way in meditations. So that is one thing. In one of the sutra, I think the sutra of the kindness, even though I cannot recall for 100% sure, also there Buddha explained, anyone who is senior to you, see them as your parent. Anyone who is woman who is senior than you, see them as an older sister. Someone who is younger, you see them as younger sister. Someone who's older than you, see them as a brother. Someone who's younger male, see them as a younger brother, and like that. So again, there is another. So there are many different way of seeing that too. But this is the one of the main one, So yeah. So second point, remember the kindness, the mother. I don't know if anyone has any questions so far. Yeah, here, Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark. I had great trouble with this strategy for understanding. And I just wanted to share how I found my way through it. I did two things. I became a mother. You know, I saw someone desperately needing a mother, and even though I just did, and I told them that. I said, I want, you know, what I'd like is to be your mother, and it was kind of funny, but actually I did that. And the second thing was I meditated and meditated on my own loneliness. And eventually that sort of came back and showed me what it means to be you know, to have the world as a mother, all sentient beings as a mother.
Thank you for sharing your experience and your practice.
Are there any other questions in the Gompa
Or in Zoom.
and on Zoom?
If there's no question, then I will continue. But I just wanted to open for question if there is questions. And also, I wanted to kind of share a story, which can be also helpful. I had a friend who shared her stories. And she said when she first went to one of the Tibetan Buddhist centers, the teacher was giving teaching on this same, not same text, but same topic, you know, the kindness of mother. And she couldn't relate with the teachings at all because she had a difficult relationship with her mothers, you know, very challenging, very difficult relationship. And so she couldn't connect with the teaching at all, these particular teachings. But some other aspect of teaching she connected. So even this particular topic, she didn't connect, but she continued to go to the teachings to listen because she was able to connect with many others, but not particularly these particular subjects, the kindness of the mother. And then one day she saw that she went to see the teachers and, you know, kind of asked him and shared her stories and her experience, that how she's struggling with this particular teaching and how she feel not connected and she struggles to see that. And the teacher advised maybe she could just start writing one kindness of her mothers, that mothers has shown one kindness, maybe once a day or time to time. And she says she couldn't come one kindness act. She couldn't remember or recollect to write down one kindness act of her mother. She couldn't. But you know, she continued to go to teaching, and she started hearing the teaching more and more, and she started to reflect. Slowly, slowly, her mind started to open a little bit, you know. And as her mind started to open a little bit, then she started to remember. She started to remember, recollect, able to remember, recollect few kindness that her mom has shown. And then eventually, slowly, slowly, she's able to remember more, recollect more, And slowly she is able to relate with this teaching, recognize the love, compassions, and kindness of the mothers. And eventually she had a good relationship, really good relationship with her mom. And not only she had a really great relationship, she mentioned her mom was so grateful. Her mom was, practitioner Christian, but she was so grateful. She asked her daughter to thank to the teachers for giving my daughter back. That's how the mom felt, Give my thanks and gratitude for your teachers for giving my daughter back. And so anyway, and even ask the teachers whether there's any practice she can do, And the daughter told the teachers, asked the teachers if there is any practice her mom can do. Her mom asked, and the teacher said to recite Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of compassions. And she started reciting, even though she is not a Buddhist, even though she is Christian, but because of that, her appreciation of that, she started to recite. And I heard, like, at the very beginning, she said, I recite three, one for me, one for the daughter, one for the son. That is how she recites. And eventually she said more, and eventually she said that whenever her mind is disturbed, she started to recite and it give her some kind of peace and calm. So anyway, the story I'm sharing is sometimes due to certain instance, due to certain conflict in our life, due to certain instant, due to certain conflict in our life at a certain time, and because of that, then we close our mind. We close our mind. Our mind becomes very closed and build some kind of wall. And because of that, then sometimes we cannot remember or recollect. Even someone has been so kind and compassionate and loving care truly in your life, so in the past, we completely forget them. We completely ignore them. We completely forget them. And we cannot really remember, recognize them. But once your mind is kind of open and you kind of break that wall, and when your mind is more spacious and open, then you are able to feel and you are able to feel those. You are able to recognize them. You are able to see things better. And you are able to feel the kindness, love, compassion, all of that, So sometimes it's not that there was no love, compassion, love, affection, compassion. It is just due to our mind, we are unable to feel it or not being able to recognize it. And so this meditation is really helpful to destroy any kind of that kind of blockage or wall that we might build up, and so that our mind become more open, spacious. And so through that open and spacious mind, then we might be able to feel things more. We are able to recognize compassionate act as a compassionate act. We are able to recognize love as a love, compassion as a compassion, and feel it, So, yeah. Next point is the wish to repay the kindness. That's the third. But I think today, maybe I will leave here. I can still take a question if there is any questions. One or two.
No questions on Zoom? Geshe, I have something that I can say. It's not a question, but the other day I was on the bus going to work and I had some tea and a little bit of it spilled on the aisle between me and this gentleman that was right across the aisle from me. When this person got on the bus, he reminded me of somebody that it's not a friend or somebody I know personally, it's a public figure with whom I have a lot of disagreement. And the first thing I thought of was, oh, this guy looks like so-and-so. And so he was right across the aisle from me. And when my tea spilled, I immediately got a napkin out and I was trying to reach over to clean it up. And this guy immediately said, oh, let me help. And he took the napkin and cleaned it up. And now when I see this other person on TV, I think, oh, he could have been the guy that has this compassion to help an old woman clean up her tea. So, I mean, just little things like that. I think we compartmentalize people and then we forget that we're all made up of different emotions and personalities.
Yeah, and definitely. Yeah, sometimes you really need to know the person well enough to really understand the person. Sometimes we can have a very general image from very outside, very external behavior, actions, attitude, whatever. But sometimes the person inside of that can be very opposite of that. And yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Okay, we can do the dedications. Oh, Rachel, did you have a question? Are you sure? Okay, I guess we'll do dedications. Dedication prayers. May all beings everywhere, plagued by the sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain. Until then, may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Long life prayer for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Sonam Gyatso.
Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you,
wonderful
Geshe.
day. Thank you.